Powered by Riverside.
Yeah, I saw that.
Welcome to the last episode of the World Cup here at the World's
The
Beautiful Game
worldies.
podcast. Incredible World Cup we had. We're gonna go through a little bit here. We'll speak to the two semifinals, then the final that was Spain and Argentina. So
Speaking
let's.
of, oh, no, I'm looking for France. Oh, what? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. As always, with you, your hosts Goose and Will. And
Yo,
Will,
yo.
how did you find this? Let's just quickly go like sentiments as the we now we're having World Cup withdrawals and how you feel overall at the end of the World Cup.
It's definitely up and down emotions, frustration at, just with everything. It was it was a definitely a great World Cup, but it also a shitty World Cup at the same time because of all the controversy. There's just the missed calls, just the fact that I hear the excuses that, well, it's not the same refing crew or whatnot. It's like they're all professionals and they're all getting paid probably pretty decent money to be there and to be at the level that they're at. So they should all be pretty decent, similar, close enough. So to me, like to hear that is just it just pisses me off because it's, you know, the fact that we still have mistakes at this level of the game with all the technology and everything available. So that's what made it frustrating and obviously exciting to see surprise teams. Still always shout out to Cape Verde because they're definitely the most exciting team. Both for the goal of the tournament for them, just so that at least they can win something because they deserve it. But yeah, it was good surprises and naturally seeing a big seeing Argentina be a team that everybody loved, or at least there was a lot of love for them, even in the last World Cup, even with all the controversy, and this World Cup become the enemy. Just kind of, if you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. So,
Literally
uh,
thought the same thing.
yeah,
That's funny.
so, um,
What do you make of that? I thought that was very interesting. As we came down to the last couple weeks, I know a lot of it had to do with people pushing this narrative that FIFA wanted Argentina to win, and they were Infantino was doing his best to wave his magic wand and make sure that they were in the finals so Messi could get another World Cup. I don't,
I
I don't, I don't put too much stake to that, but I'm just curious, what your thoughts are on all of that.
so it's crazy because naturally you can jump into any conspiracy, but remember at the end of the day this is still a job, right? It's a job, so they can script it if they wanted to. They can do stuff and they can manipulate it because it's not like you going out on a high school final or somewhere not professional that you don't have to. Remember, a lot of these players sign non-disclosure forms, and they can never talk about stuff like that because they can get sued. So, that's not really known, but there's a lot of those clauses around that they can't disclose certain things because naturally, again, stuff like that. So you can easily go into whether it's scripted or not or favorable. But I think because of the last World Cup, there was a closer eye on Argentina, a super close eye, and you can see a lot of things that were missed, and it's just kind of like, okay, cool. Like had the other calls, a lot of other calls gone missed. Even the crazy suspension for the player that injured in Canada, was it the Qatar? Was it the Qatar player that injured the Canadian player? You can tell again, Stevie Wonder could see that that was the biggest, that was an accident that was nowhere anywhere close to being malicious. And then he got a 5 game suspension after that. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how does he get a after an accident? And then Messi has a huge controversial play that doesn't get replayed, doesn't get reshown, doesn't get anything until after, obviously, and nothing. So again, it begs to think, Is there, is there an infant? Was there a Super Infantino? And even obviously we can, well, which we can talk about. I'll talk about it when we get to the final, so I won't even mention that part. But uh, so yeah, again, you can go into conspiracies. Whether or not I want to believe that maybe not, hopefully not, to still keep the beauty of it. So I'm gonna go with no, but again, it's always up for debate.
Yeah, it's just funny, I know we're gonna speak to the final here later in the episode, but it's just there's so much surrounding, like, not just the games leading up to the final, but now even the final. There's all this conspiracy talk about whatever. I've been
Yeah.
watching videos today as we were kind of prepping for this, and it's just like, at what point can we just like say, hey, it was just the game on the field. The result was the result. Yeah, there's shitty refing. Yeah, the refing got worse as the tournament went on. Were there favorable calls their way? Yes, it's a superstar treatment. I think that's
Yeah,
nothing new.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Michael
it
Jordan, you could
happens in the
see.
NBA all the time. Like, it's not something new to
Yeah.
soccer or football. It's the same thing in most sports.
Yeah, most sports again. If you ever go back and watch where Michael replays, mic'd up and everything, and then the ref, he's like, "Hey, Mike," he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't see it," like, and then he was like, "Yeah, that should have been a foul." And then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Next time I'll give it a call. All right, you're right." And then he called it. So it's just kind of like, you know what I mean? So yes, it is a superstar treatment. Messi has deserved it, but I think Messi made himself look a million times worse because of how bad he was acting. Um, and then, which I want to get into his captain role later when uh, we can talk about when we get to Argentina. But even Maradona said it a long time ago, obviously, RIP. But I'll talk about that after too. But it just there's a whole lot to go. Obviously, yeah. Again, it's on the field at the end of the day. And if it was whether it was scripted or not, it doesn't make sense because Debo had 11 saves and he could have let in at least 3 or 4 ago that were just close. So,
All right, so
but
let's
yeah,
not, because we keep
let's get
jumping into
into
that
yeah,
one.
let's,
So let's
yeah,
go. Let's start off France Spain's first semifinal. It was an interesting game. I know you joked around about, where's France,
yeah.
and
I have a lot to say
it's
about that game. So,
I have I've eaten cake. I've taken cake to the face basically with my takes on Spain.
which is fun because I felt the same way about Spain. I felt that they were barely getting through and that luck was going to run out, kind of like Portugal, where Portugal barely plays and you know how they squeak out a win and then they somehow make it to the next level. I thought they were pretty much going to be there, but they weren't going to be able to get to that next level, especially when they had to play France.
so
So I
so this
understand.
this game was one where I obviously started to question whether or not it was Spain that was really good or France had a really bad
Yeah.
performance. I know we discussed this in our group chat, and you had your take on it. When I rewatch it and I look at it, there are things that I understand, and I'm not a tactician. I'm not obviously a manager or anything, but just watching it, like, if you watch what's happening off the ball, if you watch what's happening when any player from France is like attempting to do something in the creative third, it was just a swarm. It reminded me of those Barcelona games, teams that would not let you have the ball for more than three
Mhm.
seconds, and boom, they're right on top of you. They crowd your spaces. They seem to do a lot of work in that midfield to just take away anything that Olise, Dembele when he came on later,
Due.
and Due was
Yeah.
shut down. Really,
Hmm.
Due did nothing, and he's a hell of a player. And
Hmm.
Mbappe, I mean, he for the most part in
Yeah,
that
he
game
had an
until
amazing
Dembele came
tournament.
in,
Yeah.
he just didn't look himself. It's amazing to see. Like, I'll preface. I don't want to go I'm trying to kind of stay away from the final until we get there,
No,
but
yeah, I can
it's
talk about this game a lot myself. So that
it's
way,
it's
if you
just
want.
crazy how much teamwork became a thing with this Spain team, and you can see the difference in individuality, because that's what brought France as far as they did. It's just a lot of talent individually. They can take you on. They can find spaces, one gap, and the ball's in the back of the goal. With Spain, like, it was hard to see like where it was happening. It didn't feel like tiki taka, even though they're passing, like if you look at the stats for passing, it was incredible. Like it's literally the tiki taka way, but it wasn't that like original tiki taka. It was like a more like a quiet attack. It was just like finding moving the ball so much that they at one point have that one opportunity and they find the goal. Was that Marino on that one also for France?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
that guy for that damn team.
He turned
Um,
into fucking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
yeah,
Solskjaer, just freaking coming off the
unbelievable,
bench and just
and
knows it
just it's just
clutch.
incredible, like to come clutch against that team, and that team also not being able to score a goal against Spain, who broke like I don't know that any team will ever. I was listening to this. I don't know that another team will ever shut out as many games as they did in the World Cup like these guys did. So incredible. I mean, I like I said, I respects to them for what they
Foot in your
did. I
mouth,
bet
yeah.
against them until the end because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I haven't seen it, and sure shit, they fucking
Oh, I had
shit
put
all over
a
me.
I had to put a parlay for the when the World Cup started, and I had picked three teams to win: Portugal, Spain, and France. And then when it came to the France Spain game before the game started, I cashed out on Spain because I was like they're about to get whooped, and I left to France. So now I want to talk about Jesus Christ because so yes, to me, I what I said was yes, Spain did a great job, but France did a terrible job. So it was pretty much a balance of complete opposites. Spain went up and France went down. So it had Spain, it had France. To me, that's why I was like, well, Spain dominated them and they didn't let them play their game and everything. Yes, they didn't, but at the same time, France couldn't even complete a simple pass. If you watch a lot of the replays, they're going to pass the ball and they couldn't even get it to their target player. So they were just it was a turnover.
How much of
So
that was Spain causing it as opposed to
no, I don't
France
think
not
it
being
was.
able
It
to?
was just a missed pass. Like, let's say if he was running forward, it was a pass, pretty much a square pass. So he was missing it. So the player's like, okay, so the communication just wasn't there. So yes, Spain pressing them and changing and frustrating them absolutely had to do with the game. But at the same time, when you're that high of a team, you should be able to adjust and okay, let's try to create something. Let's try to we'll slowly build up and get into our rhythm. They never got into a rhythm. So yes, Spain also absolutely had to do with it, but I think it was more so France just didn't show up that game because I think, like you said, Spain's team is obviously, a lot of Barca players and then mixing in a few other guys, and so it's a lot easier for two players, three players to kind of come into the mix. And all right, hey, this is how we play.
All
Cool, I'm gonna play
Tottenham
with you.
players for damn
Yeah, that too.
reason.
Yeah, Pedro,
Wild.
well, Pedro Porro had a phenomenal. Yeah, had that Pedro Porro been playing for Tottenham, who knows? Like, had that been the one, um, you know. So I think it's a lot easier for them to flow into a system that's pretty much, Barca players, and then they know how to play with everybody. Um, and it was for that chemistry, then for France to pretty much not have a single player that plays together in a team. Thinking of Dembele and for PSG, right? I think there's a couple of guys there, and that's about it.
Do it, Dembele,
Yeah, and so other than
and then
that,
Emery. Um, um,
yeah,
he was
Zaire
playing the
Emery.
six. Zaire Emery playing the six. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, other than that, then it's everybody individual. So um, I think at that point, that's where the ego started clashing when they started getting frustrated and they started getting pissed off at each other, and then so the chemistry completely went out. And then at that point, obviously, Spain had a complete control, and France could never get into it until they made some changes, like you said, and then Mbappe and Dembele up. But it was just frustrating to see that France couldn't get out of their own heads. Couldn't get into a rhythm. They couldn't get. Yes, I understand. Yeah, Spain's pressuring and everything, but France are no slouch. France, on paper, are miles ahead of pretty much any team, three times pretty much their starters, their bench, and their reserves. So
and
definitely,
and their coach. I mean, like is
oh yeah,
in
for
all
sure,
facets
yeah,
of their team.
hmm
Like there's just
yeah,
there was
superior in every aspect.
so much that it was hard to
Supposed to
bet
be, yeah,
against them.
supposedly, exactly.
I will
So
say, I will say, I it's on record. I didn't think France would win the World Cup. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just figured at one point they'd falter. I just didn't think it was Spain that would be the
Yeah,
favorite.
well, no, I thought they would have because if they were making it to the final against Argentina, which I didn't want to, but I said Argentina's unfortunately going to make it from the way it looks. Um, I think they're going to win, and even if if England had won, I think France would have been able to control the game and win it because they were playing so smooth in the group stages and everything. Even that Paraguay game, that was a rough game because they're just getting beat up, which was a disgraceful game, which we already spoke about. But they still kept their composure, their calm, and they looked again as professional as any team could be. So to see them just drop in form that badly in a very important game just blew my mind because yeah, and then it was just
Yeah, and then
yeah,
was it Marino
Marino, yeah,
and
just
Pedro Porro with the goals to
hmm
get Spain past France in that one. Then the next game up was
England, Argentina,
uh,
yeah.
uh, it was the team that I wound up rooting for to get to the final. Obviously, we watched the Premier League, and we know a lot of those players, and it was unbelievable. They get the goal to put them in the lead, and then
After like the
I don't
70th minute, I want to say
yeah,
is
it was like
when they
70th minute.
really just sat back and it was just
Like
like,
yeah, because no, it was a little. It was even because it was almost 30 minutes.
was it
but it was like, and here's a point that I'll make, which I don't understand. I There's a psychology to this, and I've heard what was it? Cesc Fabregas got interviewed regard when he's talking about a one goal lead. You know, the mentality of the players on the field when a coach or a manager put in a defensive player instead of an attacking player, or at least one in the same position as the one
mm-hmm.
that's on the field, and how that really triggers like almost like panic mode. And it's like, let's set our stations, let's park the bus. Even Harry Kane, like just completely retreated for
Yeah,
England,
it's tracking back. Yeah, I was like, looked
and
like Wayne Rooney. Like,
and I swear he
yeah,
was playing center back at one point, clearing some shots, and it made no sense. Like this England team clearly had Kane and Bellingham, who were the
Bellingham had a
players
phenomenal
for
tournament.
them
Yeah,
for the tournament, having both were on 6 goals.
Saka
With
can
the
quickly turn it up as much as you see that you
Anthony
saw in the
Gordon
third
was
place. Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
played well that game
He's
and got
yeah,
subbed out,
yeah.
and it was another game where it felt like teams made the same mistake against Argentina in allowing them possession the
Mhm.
last however
Egypt,
minutes of the game, and just were willing to take shots on and just get pounded over and
Cape
over
Verde,
again.
unfortunately, but yeah, Cape
Yeah,
Verde,
but still,
Egypt, and
but you're talking to Cape Verde at
no,
least
of
as a team
course, no,
with an
yeah,
excuse who,
yeah, yeah. They're a
they're
new
playing a
team, first fresh,
powerhouse.
yeah,
They're
exactly.
expected to lose, so like they're just holding the
Oh
fort
yeah,
down.
but what I mean is like unfortunately like that's where that started, right? So if you and then but then yeah, they're expected to lose it at the same time, and then you have a team like England, and it's just like why are you playing? And I don't ever want to disrespect Cape Verde at all because they're amazing, but why would you try to play supposedly down what they're doing, but because they don't have the reinforcements to try to push forward when you do? It's just dumb. Yeah, absolutely. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I mean, but
And the other thing that I saw that I think I pointed out in our group chat before that all happened was Bellingham was all over Messi. Like there was that one tackle that you were saying that Messi was
mm-hmm.
dirty for headlocking Bellingham. That to me that didn't even matter, but just like the effort that was being put in to make sure that that dude like didn't hurt you was incredible. Like, and Bellingham does this all the time. Does it for Madrid. It's not a new thing. Like that dude plays till he is gassed and he can't run anymore. And he
Mm-hmm.
was doing that, and I think he was doing it in a controlled way where he wasn't like underperforming going forward, right? So, uh, I, I why teams chose that path? Why Tuchel, who's supposed to be a master tactician genius,
I don't like him. I never
but
liked
he
him.
did the same thing with Chelsea when they won the Champions League. So it was park the bus. Like it's just what he does. Like it's like a
Yeah,
Mourinho tactic that hasn't
which
died.
is I mean I get like the park the bus in certain games, but when you have a team that you've seen obviously has done it time and time again that comes back, why? But I understand and Miguel, our friend, he brought it up and he did make sense and I hate that I have to agree, but he's not wrong. And the English teams, that's just what they do. they pretty much get one goal and then they want to sit back and then just try to, because that's all they can do. They can't, and I believe that they can do more and they should be more creative, but that is how sometimes, like, remember the old Premier League, that's how it is. The English teams, all these players that have come foreign into, and foreign coaches that have come into the Premier League have changed the way that they play, but the English were just kind of a boot and chase and, try to body you and then outperform you and then sit back and that's exactly what they turned into, which doesn't make sense because when it was a German coach, it's not even an English coach that did that. But yeah, they scored and they're getting beat up by Argentina, little Argentinians, and they're big, obviously much bigger and stronger. They were getting beat up by them, but they were still able to. And then it's like
And
it's
then you
like
leave
Tuchel got scared, panic, and
Messi,
then
and then Messi
yeah,
magic. Yep.
absolutely. And then you again, time and time again, just made no sense why you would sit back and you wouldn't push for another one. I would prefer that they got tied and scored on because they were pushing and they got countered or something happened, versus them just sitting back and then trying to, and then you still get outbeat in a header when you're literally all your guys are giants. So how do you lose by the one your strongest, the one thing that's like, all right, well, this is impossible to beat us. If they're gonna beat us, they're gonna come
That
through the
ball
middle
just
or
like
anything.
right over his
Yeah,
head.
but that's what's crazy. Exactly, it's just insane. So you get beat out by what you put in to defend and everything, and the one thing that you. So yeah, but yeah, and Cesc Fabregas saying that about the mentality changes absolutely because yeah, you're just like, all right, cool, we're gonna attack, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna sit back now. Now we have to pretty much just try to get the ball and push it back to them, kick it over to them, and then bring it back again, and then just
Yeah,
do that back and forth for 30
because
minutes.
at that point, like the team, the coach may not have said anything, but because that's the pattern, the mindset immediately goes to, all right,
No, he has
we're
to for
protecting
for
this
that
game.
to sit back. That's his call. There's no way. And you put in a defensive player. Obviously, that's what the strategy is. I'm sure he's yelling it across, and then he knows what. And then they know what they have to do. Because again, for Harry Kane to drop all the way back like that to play defense makes no sense. Because if
Was
if
it
you don't,
Rashford or Gordon that was on the wing that game? Because I feel like I
it
remember
was Gordon.
seeing
I'm pretty sure Gordon was the one that,
uh
that got taken out.
yeah,
Uh,
I don't know why I remembered Rashford for a second, but it was just interesting to me. Oh no, Rashford was the France game. It was Gordon. It was Gordon.
yeah, yeah.
But no, yeah. So super disappointing in England, and they could have done so much more.
And
This
like
is
you
their
say, yeah,
best.
Gordon had the goal. He had the goal. So
This is their best result since they won the World Cup in 1966. Obviously, we're
yeah,
going to get into that
and they
result
should have
next,
they should
but
have made it to the final. I mean,
I think there was an opportunity for them to go and get there. But
I
yeah,
mean,
that's how
yeah,
that game went.
and with our well, yeah, actually, I'll talk about the Argentina. I'd rather talk about it in the final because I can talk about it now, but it'll just make more sense because they're the
Yeah,
next
so
game.
we'll move
Well, we
on
can
to
talk about the
the
third place game
yeah
actually.
that's what I
Yeah,
want to jump into next. So obviously
wild.
England wound up with France in the third place game, which should have been the final at that point. No defense, no one cared to stay back, but
Well, the fans love
incredible for England to score four goals in a first half, and
against France.
France basically just bringing that momentum from the game before against Spain, where like they just weren't in it, they couldn't figure it out.
I just think they didn't care. Like, and which,
I
yeah,
think
go
they
ahead.
said it in the press conference too. They were like, "Yeah, this game doesn't matter," like or something to that extent. England doesn't care either. And fucking sure as shit did France come out with that mentality because wow, they just you saw it on all their faces. And England, they came out to
England was,
ball. They were
yeah.
not messing around.
Hmm.
And like I said, this wound up being their best result since 1966 when they won that World Cup, getting that third place game, beating France in the end 6-4. But also obviously an incredible comeback in the second half. And that's what I was going to mention. When some of the changes again that Tuchel made, he took Rashford off the field, who was threatening on that left side, and I think was causing some of that, right? Because he was making them have to defend. They were having to defend on all fronts because it was like a 4-3-3 they were playing, and it just looked like England couldn't be stopped. Like you swear, going into that second half, you're like, how many is going to be? 8? Like, are they going to get there? Like, that's what it felt like. I really didn't expect what happened in that second half to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, England killed it off in the end, getting that other goal, and Bellingham
Jude again, yeah.
looking like his best version of Messi himself. And
Zidane,
yeah,
yeah.
like it was just incredible to see. I'm a big fan of that dude, and I know there's a lot that happened in England with the media talking about, like he doesn't deserve to be there. Like, man, talk about putting it on for your country. That dude came and played. I
So
he
that's
was
well,
arguably one of those players that could have won the player of the tournament. To be honest with the way
well,
that he played.
it blows my mind because it's hilarious. You know how all the Barca fans, obviously, they're oh well, we were all going for Argentina, but we still won because Barca won. Yeah, shut the fuck up. Go eat it, whatever, But it's funny because and they were all making fun of Real Madrid players because oh well, no Madrid players got called into Spain squad, da da da. And the funniest part is the Madrid players were probably the best players of the tournament. Vinny was amazing for Brazil, and unfortunately, just Brazil was already imploding, but they he kept them afloat. Bellingham was phenomenal for England.
Mbappe
Mbappe,
breaking
yeah,
records.
yeah, exactly. So again, all these
Cucurella technically for Spain.
no, he doesn't count because he didn't. No, that doesn't count. but again, all these players that had a terrible,
Cucurella,
all these
come
terrible, yeah,
paella.
yeah. He's a Barcelona Academy product, so that's actually even worse. But that they all had a horrendous season. So for them to even try to put it on Bellingham and say, well, Bellingham shouldn't be there, is not fair because Valverde, he was one of the few, but that was Uruguay was just in turmoil. So that because that's to me, I think is probably Real Madrid's best player. But it's not fair to say that Bellingham doesn't deserve it because they were all garbage. And now you could see his quality and what he can produce for you. And I think with a coach like Mourinho coming in, he should be fine. But he was phenomenal. But I'm curious as to what happened at that halftime when they're down 4-0 and then France finally woke up. I think Didier was kind of like, at this point, like I'm pretty sure he just ripped
I,
everybody a new
I
one.
think it was the opposite, honestly.
Hell no.
Yeah, I
There ain't
think
no way you're getting embarrassed 4-0 and it's going to be like, well, guys,
well, the reason why I think it was the opposite was because it's his last game of the World Cup, or his last game ever for France, and he's
that
retiring.
wasn't the case. He didn't say he was retiring. I don't, not that I heard.
Oh, I mean, he's no
Pretty sure
longer
he
with
wanted to stay,
France. Well,
yeah,
it's
but I'm
less
pretty sure he
with
wanted to
France.
stay in.
I don't know. I have this feeling almost like it was embarrassing. It was so embarrassing that going into the locker room, like, what would it have mattered what you say to them? Like, I think if you just don't say anything, you go sit down and just look at them. Like, you don't say anything, just literally look at them and discuss.
I don't think
Like,
so because the French are they're very,
but he's really
uh,
soft spoken. I've seen some of his
yeah,
team talks.
sure,
Like, they're
but
never like really. That's why,
but
like,
okay,
I thought it
maybe it
would have been
wasn't him,
more.
but maybe it was somebody, maybe it was Mbappe,
No,
somebody
I think
on the
Mbappe. I mean, in general, Mbappe probably tore them all a new one, so he didn't
somebody
have to do it.
inside that locker room tore the team a new one because there ain't no way the French are just gonna sit quiet there and reflect and be.
I believe Mbappe would have done it because if you saw the whole pregame, they kept focusing in on him. They're in the circle stretching,
Mhm.
and he doesn't shut up. Like he's literally like talking the entire time. I can only imagine. My dude came into the locker room and did the blow dryer like Sir Alex on all of them.
Yeah, there's
And
no way that yeah.
I'm sure he made the subs and not even Deschamps. Like
Hmm.
it was just like get the fuck off the field. You ain't playing no more. Like
Absolutely,
Dembele, you
yeah,
playing?
like
Like come
because
on.
they woke up and that second half was exciting. Like that, there's absolutely
Yeah,
10
and they
goals.
look
Like
they looked like they were about to score 12
that's
themselves
what I'm
going into the
saying. So
second
that's
half.
that's the France that I know could have gone against England, and at least again, had they lost to Spain, given that they're all in Spain outclassed them, even though France gave it everything, I would have been like, okay, Spain was clearly superior and the much better team. But it was hard for me to say that they were definitely obviously the better team, but they didn't play the France that everybody expected. So you can't say, well, so that had France lost and then still gotten dominated and playing their best and doing all, um, then I would have been like, okay, cool. I am good with that. But yeah, this France, at least in the second half for England, made it exciting. And yeah, 10-goal game. And then, I mean, I already knew going into the final, I was like, there is no way this is going to be anywhere close. I was like, I can
Yeah, no,
almost
I mean
guarantee.
it wasn't even just that game. Like it was just I think even the England Spain one, England Argentina one, it was kind of the same thing because that one ended in like
Yeah, because they
as a
sat back.
thriller. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both, I think everything leading up to the final I think was always going to disappoint, and the team that was in there already, and there,
If you're
well,
if you're a fan of excitement, this was going to be disappointment. But if you're
for the
yeah,
neutral, yeah, that's
but
where
if you're a football aficionado, I think everybody knew that that was going to be the game plan. It wasn't going to be high scoring. Which let's just transition into it so we can talk about it anyways.
yeah,
So if you
and
want to,
I'll just
yeah.
make a point too to say that like it was almost sad to get to that climax, that third place game, because that's the game that people think is not going to be an exciting game because no one cares, and
Hmm.
that one completely had us all like
Yeah,
in
I didn't
amazement,
honestly. I didn't
wanting
even watch the
more.
game. I didn't. I was like, it's third place game. I was like, and I'm pretty sure France is probably don't even care, and it's probably gonna be a low scoring game. And I started checking my phone. I was like, what the fuck, 2-0. I was like, what? They're just like, I was like, and then at that point, I was like, it was probably that's where it's gonna end. And then I look at halftime. I was like, 4-0. I was like, what the hell? How did I miss this? So I missed out on that game, unfortunately, because I was just pissed off thinking that that the teams weren't gonna show up, and I was wrong.
I think that game encapsulated what the whole World Cup was.
Hmm.
Uh, and then we'll transition now to that final. Just to say, my tagline for this is going to be like, this was the most unforgettable win for a World Cup team in one of the most exciting World Cups, if not the most exciting World Cup I've ever seen in my lifetime. I don't think anything tops a lot of what we saw in this World Cup, and this Spain team beating Argentina in the way that they did, it almost made me feel like as embarrassed as I did and as sad as I felt watching the U.S. lose in their performance, because like you said, you get to a point. I think we all knew it. I said it before the game. I was 60 minutes minimum, no goals, and then we went to what 80, 90 minutes, like basically the end of the game to get. Or was it an extra time? No, that goal was an extra time. They went
Yeah, goals in extra time. Yeah, yeah.
125 minutes before we saw, 115 minutes before we
It
saw a
was like
goal.
110,
It
10,
was right
because
after
well,
the start of the second. It was it was
so
right after.
106, 110, right
Yeah,
about
it was
110
really
minutes in.
fast
Yeah,
after, and an
second.
unlikely goal scorer again for Spain. Like that was their theme this whole tournament. It wasn't their prince that's promised that they have now. He's the next coming of Neymar, I guess. Um,
Oh,
Lamine Yamal didn't have exactly. He didn't have a great World Cup. I think
but
he played a good part in the grand scheme of the team. I just want to point this out because all those
I have something to
memes,
say about that though.
all the memes of the Messi, Lamine, and all everything that was going
Hmm.
around with that. I just I didn't like. I think what I didn't like at the end was that that's who they shine the light on, and you shouldn't. Like it was literally the whole team. It was everybody. Dani Olmo. People pointed out to me several times. Dani Olmo had a hell of a tournament.
Yeah.
Very quietly, he was doing a lot of night. Fabian Ruiz from
Hmm.
PSG also doing a lot of work in that midfield. And they did it without Nico Williams. Nico Williams wasn't even like he
Well,
played a little bit, and then when he did, obviously he's exciting. But I didn't I hooray to Spain because it was the whole team that did
yeah.
it. The whole the staff, the players, the keeper that no one everyone in Spain is a big fan of Unai Simon. A lot of talk about Raya not being the starter, but either way, they did it the way you should do it. Obviously, it's not the most exciting. It's not the way that we wanted to watch a
It's
game.
like the Floyd Mayweather of
It was that is
you
a
know
perfect
control
analogy.
it. You might hate it as a boxing. Again, if you're a viewer of somebody, just a casual fan, you want to see excitement, you want to see it. And if you just follow sports, and if you just know what the sport's supposed to be like, you're gonna know that it's not gonna be exciting. He's gonna get the win because that's his job. He doesn't care if it's exciting. He's a professional. He's gonna. And that's the same thing. Spain, they are the pros. They know what they're gonna do. They don't hey, sorry, we're not gonna make it exciting for you. We're not gonna change our game up for you. We want to win.
And I think
But
the last point that I'll make, and I'll let you have the floor the rest of the way, was just I- it was disappointing with the way Argentina came to this game, because forget the fact that they had no shots on goal for like 89 minutes.
they didn't have a
Um,
shot on goal for the whole game.
yeah, well, no, I think at the end there was
I don't
one.
think they
Was
registered
it
a single
zero?
shot.
Oh,
Let me pull it up.
I thought it was two, but
Um,
I mean either way, forget that. But there was a lot
that's
of
actually
stuff.
very important.
There
But
was a there
keep
was It was a lot of things that happened that were similar to the Paraguay game. A lot of that kind of nastiness that came through, and it's not to us, it's not new. I've seen Christian Romero for Tottenham do things like this. Leach has a little bit
It's
that way
just
for
going
us, but
back
he's
in the
on our
day
team.
for it's gone for Argentina for all the way back to the old when they played Brazil back in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, obviously
But
further
the
back
big
in that
and the
90s.
and the big one that was the worst of all of them was Paredes. Like
Disgusting, disgusting
it
human
wasn't
being.
just on the play. It was the way he treated the ref. It was the way he like all the stuff after the game. And I just I saw this thing where people were defending, or like it was Argentinian fans. Let's be real, defending that they were applauding their crowd that was there when Spain was doing the trophy presentation, and that's a first for me to see for Messi because Messi, and I know you're going to talk to this Messi. I've always seen be super respectful to the opponent, even in a loss, and he did shake everyone's hands. I'll give him that, but for the whole team to kind of do that, it was such
It's
a
just
bad
one
look.
player. I forgot his name. The kid. He's the only one that's actually turned around for Argentina because you see the picture. He's the only one looking. Shout out to him. I forget his name, but he's the only one that deserves respect there. But keep going. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
try to
because
watch
I
some.
think there's a way in which you can respect both. You can obviously just take a second to watch what Spain is celebrating. You don't have to like it. I mean, not all of you have to do it, but you can go thank your crowd at any other point, or if you're gonna be there, just walk off the field, go somewhere else. Like, don't you
Hmm.
did something that made you look worse, and I don't think that's okay. Like, if you think that's okay, whatever. But this is the biggest stage in the world. All these kids are watching. Talking about being good examples for the people that are gonna want to become these players in the future. Just overall, like all of it was like really disappointing to see in that whole aspect because, like you said, what Spain did was art, and art's not for everyone. For us to enjoy the game of football, we love it. We love to see that a team can handle that and make teams look so bad. And then the same token, like just my, it's just disappointing to see that was what the final was. It wasn't what we hoped it would be as
Yeah.
the climax to this great tournament that we
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I got a lot to say.
had.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with first of all, I don't think Argentina even deserved to make it to the final because to me, if Messi gets that red card in the beginning that replays, he's suspended for 2 games because that's just direct red. He's suspended 2 games,
and
right?
that was a direct red too.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a direct red. He's suspended 2 games. At that point, Messi is Argentina, and without him, they don't score because he pretty much scored every single or assisted. So he had direct into everything pretty much.
Yeah, his
So if you
goal
take him out,
contribution is
if you
huge.
take him out in both games, I don't even know if they qualify. If they make it.
Past the Cape Verde.
Cape Verde, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So you know, so for that, and then to show up and then again, all the fans are annoying. You read stuff, and honestly, yeah. So you start losing respect for Argentina because of the last World Cup. Because I hadn't really realized how bad calls were missed and stuff like that. I thought, I was like, oh, they played good, and then you look it
yeah.
over the last World Cup, and I was like, wow, okay. So I was like, all right, then you start to see this World Cup, and then you see again now you start to see Messi being like obvious, like to the ref, pretty much saying like the one against the referees, like respect me. Like,
I
are
saw
you
that. Yeah,
kidding me? Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if Pele comes back to play reincarnated. It's like I'm the ref. You got to respect me because he wasn't being rude or anything. So I'm like, oh, okay, respect you. Here you go. Go ahead, say something else. Go ahead, because at the end of the day. So stuff like that is just disrespectful, and that's your captain, right? So that's the guy that's supposed to be the guy that sets the tone for everybody. So when you have your captain doing that, what do you expect is going to happen with other players? Romero's always been a dirty player, um, and
Licha is too.
Paredes,
He's just our
yeah,
guy.
Licha is too. Yeah, he's our guy, so that's why I have to. But he's at least not vocal about it. He'll hit you,
No,
and then
he'll
he'll
just
walk
break your
away,
leg.
and
Yeah.
then he'll walk away. So again, which is not any better, but at least he's not trying to provoke to
Simeone,
be like. He's
Simeone
not
was
like,
another one that I just
but
didn't.
Simeone, at least he hit you and he a little bit walked away. At least he'll walk away and be like, you know what? I know what I did. I'm gonna
The
walk away because I'm a piece of
Tagliafico
shit.
did it a lot
Oh yeah,
too
yeah.
during the
But
game.
players like that when you hit and then you still try to get like mouthy and then still go talk like Like, are you kidding, bro? Like, it's clear as day. Like, are you an idiot? Like,
I didn't even
walk
mention
away.
the Enzo foul that he made him
McAllister, yeah, oh yeah,
kill him in
yeah, like
what's the roller
yeah.
coaster on Six Flags?
Oh yeah, it's freaking
Kowalski went
yeah.
for a ride, man. That
Yeah,
was wild.
absolutely. So again, like but again, that's why I said I don't feel like they should have even been there. Um, but they made it. So now what I want to talk about is obviously yes, the master class of Spain to show them that that you take out Messi in the game and Argentina had nothing. You shut down Messi and they got nothing. They had no chance. And I just checked. They had two shots, zero registered on target. So they
Okay,
shot the ball twice.
so I knew there was
Yeah.
two something.
There's two shots, none registered on target. So they didn't even have a chance. It was embarrassing. Like it was completely embarrassing for them and for all the fans to think that they had a chance and to try to say that, they deserved to win. You saw you shut down Messi. You see, if any other team would have done the same thing, which a lot of them did, is just they let them go back into the game at the end. But yeah, they had no chance. So yeah, again, masterclass, and it sucks because it takes away from Spain and how beautiful. Now, what I had to say about Lamine and Nico, they were both injured to coming in, so you can't expect them to have done more. Yes, of course, eyes are going to be on him because he is a prodigy. He's the next one, and he's been phenomenal. So that's why it's always gonna be that way, even if he didn't have anything to do. But I wouldn't say that he wasn't a big influence because he was still rattling, and then he was again. Obviously, you know how Spain plays close and tight in that tiki taka type of form. But now you add these guys to the wing, and now they do even more. So they become a hybrid of what that was. So I think
Yeah,
he
that's why
had
I
a lot
said.
to do.
That's why I said like it's not tiki taka anymore. It's just kind of
It's
like
like a hybrid. It's like a
yeah,
2.0.
it's like a really
Um,
good version of. It's like a better version of what tiki taka was. Almost what it feels like.
yeah, because it's like a hybrid because they can go in and out. Because if you look at who gave was it no Yamal didn't
And
assist on that,
I hate
but
saying this, but Rodri was everywhere. I when I watched the replay
no.
of the
So
game, he was
Rodri reminds me of when I
another.
with Rafa Marquez because I used to say Rafa Marquez was overrated. He was garbage. He was not good. And then we saw him play in Columbus where they whooped our ass, and I was like,
But
holy
I
shit,
could
that guy
never.
is.
But I could
I
never say
don't
that about
care.
Rodri. He won a Ballon d'Or. Like
Yeah, but again, the
that's
same
a
thing.
way different comparison.
Yeah,
I hear
but
what you're
not. I
saying,
don't say
but
it's a different comparison because everybody rated Rafa Marquez. He played for Barcelona. He won Champions League then. So yes, he maybe didn't win the Ballon d'Or, but to me, saying that man like was I always said he was overrated. He didn't deserve to play for Barca. He shouldn't have been that level. And then to show the masterclass that he did when he whooped our ass and we were there to watch it, I had to shut up because you know how we
I
hate
mean we both did.
Mexico.
We
And I hate
talked about it
Mexico because
after.
we're rivals, is obviously in soccer, not people, because we have a lot of Mexican friends. The Mexican people are cool when we're not talking about soccer. But yeah, I hate, and so for me to give, a Mexican player the flowers is because their levels. And Rodri did the same thing. I always used to say that guy is overrated. He's not good, or he's not as good as he is. The dude controlled it. He reminded me a lot of Busquets the way he played, and the same thing. I hate Busquets, and I thought he was overrated. And you see when you watch the replays of how that man controlled the field, how he pretty much just made people look stupid and
Well,
just killed the game down,
he was
and the
just
vision going forward.
Rodri was just
Rodri,
everywhere, dude. Like
exactly.
if you watch it over, if anyone watches
Yeah,
that final
yeah,
over,
yeah.
watch
Rodri
all the
was,
places where
yeah.
he comes back and he picks the ball off of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
He slides into a place where he receives a
Mm-hmm.
pass and just keeps the ball moving. Like
Yeah, it's just
it's an incredible watch for anyone that just kind of wants to learn like how to really like attack.
if you're a
Like
defensive midfielder and you
yeah.
want to at least watch, just try to pick something up here and there, that's a beautiful game to watch
And
to see
another
how he
point with
masterclassed.
him, another player that came injured into this World Cup and wasn't really 100% fit,
Mm-hmm.
and then gives you that in the final.
Yep,
He
exactly.
had to get
He
subbed out because he
stepped up
couldn't
and
take him out.
yeah, but he showed up and he knew and he pretty much said, "Hey, I'm gonna leave everything on the table, on the field, on the pitch, and you're gonna see that I'm dedicated." So yeah, absolutely. Spain had a masterclass. Merino still coming in and being dangerous and still almost scoring
He
a couple
almost had
times.
a
You
yeah
got the
that
head,
one
yeah. It's just
header
like the man. That
just
guy
went
is just
wide.
everywhere. Same thing. It's just crazy. Like how the hell? Like where the hell has this been? Because I know he doesn't do that for Arsenal. Not like that. Not the way he
No,
was.
he was
But
doing
not.
that for he was coming
Was
in
he
off the bench and doing the same thing,
really?
but then he
No,
got
I guess I.
injured the second half of the season. He
Oh,
didn't
that's what it
play. He was
was. Yeah,
injured.
that's what
So
the, the
and then they
second
were
half. Yeah.
they had Havertz up
So
top, but
so that's what it was. Oh yeah, and then you have Havertz. So, but going back to that, yeah, absolutely. So Spain deserves their flowers, but it sucks that we still are going to get to Argentina. Argentina, And the fans are just honestly one of the biggest lack of class all around that I have ever seen, and it's so sad and pathetic to see. Because if you see one or two videos, it's cool, but you see time and time again, you're seeing these videos. If you go to the streets in Argentina, there's a video of them pretty much fighting the police in Argentina because they're pissed off. Like, bro, like you lost, it sucks and it hurts, but like get over yourself. You're not as good as you thought you were. I don't know who Argentina thought they were because they didn't deserve to even have a chance, and they didn't have a single chance. So the fans were just absolutely one of the worst that I've seen like ever. It's really sad. And then the players also fed into that because during the game, obviously you talked about it, the hits and everything, and then after the game, again, players are celebrating. What do you expect? And you saw, I forgot who it was when he was running through and he punched him. He threw a punch at him.
Yeah, I think it was the Paul actually.
And then the coach, one of the coaches to Danny Olmo too, he pretty much he wanted to launch at him. So it's just like you are pathetic. Like, are you kidding me?
Is it me or did I see Infantino actually call them out and say how disgusting all of that
Absolutely
was?
not.
Yeah.
He wanted to rescind. He said he was rescinding
No, I think this was
Paredes' card. Well,
not
when
today.
the day before or 2 days ago, he said he was rescinding Paredes' red card. I was like, are you kidding me?
Unless it was AI, but
I don't
I
know.
saw
But
something
from
earlier today.
yeah, just everything all around is absolutely disgusting. Like they won the World Cup, just the same thing. If you flash back to when they won, and they were looking at the the other players before they made it to the final, I think, or when they got to penalties, and they're literally like making fun of them and all this. So it's just like you can't tell somebody, oh, act, have more class and everything when you've done the same or worse. And it's like it's exciting. Obviously, the
I
game's
actually
over.
really liked a response I heard from Gavi. They did an interview with him and they asked him about the whole Paredes incident, and he's like, you know what? He's like, no, I don't want him to do anything to him. I don't want him to get punished for it. He's like, he honestly should have been punished during the game and he wasn't. So
Oh,
I don't really want anything to happen post because it doesn't really matter. He's a young kid, and to see that I know that he won, and it kind of helps keep you there in a place where you're kind of
well, yeah,
like
exactly, because
having a
you won
better
everything. But
yeah.
as a neutral play, fuck that. I'm saying to suspend him for 10 games. He's garbage. He's a piece of shit. I can't stand people like that. When you when you're outclassed and you know you don't have a chance, you still lose. At least you humbly lose
You know what it
because when
reminds me of? You know,
Paraguay,
no, well,
uh,
no. This is like really like funny, but you remember when we used to play games against like Sachem and like the
mm-hmm,
teams that were
yep,
rivals,
and
and they
then they
wouldn't
want
shake
to
your
hit us,
hand in
yep,
the line, and then they want to act
yep,
like fools. Like
mm-hmm.
this is obviously to a degree. Like this is like
Newfield,
even better,
yeah.
but it literally that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It's like why does it have to? We get it. You
And we
lose,
outclassed you,
you're
yeah. We
upset.
beat you, and we didn't do anything of like they didn't do it. Spain was the humblest because you didn't see. Yeah, they obviously they hit a couple back, but
I mean,
they
but what were
played
they
with
supposed to
class.
do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but I'm
like
saying
what?
like,
Yeah.
but they played with class, and that was the cleanest team. Like there was nobody chirping at them. Like you didn't see anybody like visibly like, ha ha, we're destroying you. We're gonna take no. So it's just pathetic for a team like that to for them to go after players
No,
like that
their
to
biggest
do it.
mouthy player was Cucurella, and what do you
Yeah,
expect?
and
Chelsea players, of course.
he wasn't even doing again like
No, because
he was,
they didn't really need to. Like
and again like you said the
they
dirty play by Simeone when he literally went into him and the disgusting announcers because I used to have so much respect for Cantor, Andres Cantor, and he's dropped. He was pathetic. And then the other announcer too, that was Argentinian. I don't remember his name, but he's saying that Cucurella get up, like stop diving, and you see the replay where he trucks Cucurella when he's shielding the ball towards the end so Unai can get it, and then nothing happens from there. That should have been a direct red card. That was absolutely disgusting when you look at the replay. So that's just pathetic to me. And the announcers, just everything, the bias that was going on is just, and I lost so much respect, and I lost a lot of respect for Messi because yes, at the end you're the team captain. You should be like, I don't give a shit that we lost. I don't care that I'm telling you I'm the captain and I'm telling you to turn around and clap for them and keep it quiet and at least lose gracefully because you were the defending World Cup champions and you should have acted like you've been there before. So it's pathetic and disgraceful and it's funny and again when I say the things as far as like where they helped when Messi went up on stage, and obviously everybody knows him and Infantino, whatever. He shook his hand, didn't even look at him, and he kept going, and that's it. So that's like obviously you're pissed at him, which is kind of like cool, like screw you for what, like for not being interfering in the game or whatnot. Like that's what makes you think that. But
have you seen today or yesterday some of the conspiracies that are happening now that
that
supposedly
they're saying that they threw the towel because it was hell no,
that prior
absolutely
to,
not.
prior to the game that they got threatened with a, I think I
Please.
sent it to you on our
With the yeah,
page.
you said I don't even want to waste time looking at
So
that garbage because
claiming that
they
they were going to be suspended for 10 years because of the political sign that they brought on the field. So they basically were told lose the game or Argentina
or
suspended
yeah,
for 10 years.
please, yeah, okay, get the hell out of here.
That's the new conspiracy theory, and I'm just
They
like,
can
oh damn.
conspiracy all they want because they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a remote chance. They didn't even register a shot on goal. Messi was shut down, and just wait for Messi to retire from the national team, and let's see what happens. Who's going to be the person? And now, obviously, the only respectful person, at least at the end, a couple of days later, was the coach when he said, "We were outclassed, we were outperformed. There's nothing I could say had the, would the refs been any better or anything." He's like, "No, they outclassed us, they outperformed us."
I don't think the ref did a poor job. I think the ref, if
No,
anything,
not at
held his
all.
hand for Argentina,
I
who should
absolutely
have had
would
like
deserve
4 red
more
cards that
cards.
game. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's like again, I can go off because I just lost all respect for Argentina. I will never cheer for Argentina ever again. Um, like I said, to me, Messi is one of the greatest players, if not
It, it
probably,
is the
he's the
greatest.
greatest player of all time. But for me, Ronaldinho is the greatest, my personal
Oh
favorite.
well,
But
yeah, that's a
but
personal
yeah,
favorite.
if you have personal favorites, right? But yes, Messi is obviously an alien. But you lose complete respect when he's just again when you give players captain bands that aren't captains. And Maradona said it. Maradona said he is a phenomenal player, but he is not a captain. He said in an interview years ago, because yeah, Messi doesn't know how to communicate. Messi doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to be a captain. Because again, a captain, any respectful captain says, "Yo, I don't care that we just lost. Turn around and at least
But not just
be
that,
respectful,
not
be
just
be
that,
professional."
not just that moment. Like there's so many
No,
moments
yeah,
in the
of
game that
course.
he
There's
could have calmed
plenty
things
of
down,
moments.
tell
Yeah,
people get away from the
absolutely.
ref, like
No,
do all these
you
things.
see,
So
and Ben, you see him
yeah.
kind of egg it on too, like yeah. And then when he makes a comment, then everybody else barks. So it's like he's the leader of the wolf pack, and all the other Chihuahuas want to start, barking too. So yeah, I have absolutely no respect for Argentina. They didn't deserve to be in the final, and I hope when Messi's gone that they don't even qualify well for the World Cup, which they automatically do because the weird thing going on in the next World Cup where Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay
And
automatically qualify because they're hosting games for the
I
World Cup.
I heard also 64 teams for that
I
World Cup
hope
too, at
not.
least.
32 would be great. I like the new expansion. I think that's perfect. A perfect amount.
But yeah, I
Um,
think it's almost like something like the one of the presidents of, I think it was Uruguay,
yeah.
basically said it's going to be 64 teams.
I hope not. That's
Um,
too much.
yeah, and just as we said, after the group stages, even probably before that, the number of teams, I don't think it was the wrong choice to go this route.
No, it was
We
perfect.
all we all were loving watching 4 games a day until obviously that ended, and we were all kind of sad each time like there was one game, maybe 2 games on the TV.
It's so
Um,
exciting to see Curaçao score a goal, a small country that they couldn't even get funds to make it. So, like, but they still made it and they scored it. They got a tie, right? They got a point out of it. So, even saying, and there was Europeans that were pretty much European Federation people that were saying that, oh, this kind of brings down the level. I was like, if it brings down the level, well, they tied, so therefore, and Germany getting knocked out to a team like Paraguay when they want to say that they're superior teams. Like, well, if you're superior, then why did you get knocked out? So it's just the European disrespect I hate, and I hope it changes, and I hope that they at least can be like, you know what, we got to respect every opponent because at any given day we can lose.
yeah, I think it's a narrative that I kept hearing as the tournament went on, and even after post now, I've heard some people kind of doing a recap of the World Cup, and they're talking about how this tournament, the level really went down, like the play
Get
was
the hell out of
poor,
here.
and that there wasn't, it wasn't as good as it used to be, and I just don't subscribe to that notion because,
It
like
was
you
exciting
said,
to me.
like you said, like there was so much excitement, and not only forget the excitement,
Congo,
there was
Cape Verde,
teams.
they showed up to play.
Well, I was going to say, there's teams that came that people did wrote off the moment the World Cup
Africa,
teams. Yeah,
Africa
Africa
to me probably
19th
stands
advanced.
out, and
Yeah.
they all played phenomenal. It sucks, obviously, they didn't make it further, but they showed their progression that is that nobody was thinking about. They're thinking of South America, Europe, you know what I mean? But nobody talks about Africa, and Africa, other than like Morocco, and Egypt, and then everybody else are just kind of like, And
Yeah, it was
Africa
like
showed up, and I'm
Ghana, Senegal, DR
Mhm.
Congo, Cape Verde, and I forget. I know I'm missing out some other
Egypt,
ones. No,
yeah,
Egypt and
Morocco,
Morocco. Yeah,
and
those are the two.
but
But just it was really it was I think it was a really great
Ivory
tournament.
Coast, yeah,
No, every oh yeah, Every Coast made
yeah,
it to
of
the
course, Diallo,
national play. They
bro.
got knocked out. Yeah, I forgot
You
about
know.
that game that I didn't watch.
But yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for Africa in the next World Cup, and I hope that they're developing that way because that's amazing to see that they definitely had represented a lot and they played good. It's
I
not like
will just say though, like what frustrates me still about the AFCON is when they have their tournament, it's really
yeah,
frustrating for
yeah.
both
The
season.
AFCON tournament is upsetting, but the World Cup involvement is beautiful. Yeah, we don't even need to get into all that, but yeah.
It, I mean that's my last words on the World Cup. It was great. It was amazing. Besides the ending, everything about this World Cup, the fans, the games that were played. How some of the so many endings of games were like you knew something was coming, and it sure as shit. 80th minute, 85th minute, 90th minute game winners. Teams like just coming down to the end and making sure that they didn't go home. Obviously, eventually they all go home except for one. But
I think
so much good came from this World Cup,
I
and
think the most
I was really happy to watch.
I think the best part of the World Cup, honestly, is not even on the pitch. I think it was to see with all the craziness going on with the United States, to see everybody love America that came here and they're like, oh my God, this place is actually not what we're seeing on TV or whatever's going on. That propaganda tries to make us look like we're like even as a people we suck because the people itself, because obviously forget politics aside because that's different stories, but the people themselves, where they think the people are also garbage to come to see that obviously they were greeted with hospitality and they're coming here. This is amazing and people having fun. The Scottish coming
I
here.
almost wanted to go find like some Japanese folks and be like, "Yo, come to
Oh
the
my
house,
God,
come hang out,"
absolutely
because they
amazing.
just look
Yes.
like cool people. Like it was,
Japan
yeah,
fans, yeah. Then Mexico, you saw them in Mexico too, because it wasn't just the U.S. because they showed up to Mexico. Canada didn't show too much. It kind of the people having a good time. Not, I'm sure they did,
I mean,
but
it's
it's
just
but it's
the
just yeah.
coverage.
But
I'm
yeah,
sure.
exactly. But Mexico, like exactly the Koreans being, they pretty much is like family over there now. But
Yeah,
everybody coming to the
it's gonna be
U.S.
some
and
Korean Mexican
ranch,
babies.
Hey, if you're European, and you want us to send you some ranch, let us know. We'll send you some.
Happy to bring it over.
Hey,
I'm
yeah.
gonna try to be out there for my 40th birthday to see if I can get to Old Trafford. So we're
Oh,
almost
nice,
there,
nice.
almost there. But no, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of good came. A lot of emotions. I
Through
think
all the bad of the calls and everything else going on, there was a lot of good that.
And now we wait and see what happens with U.S. soccer going forward. We hope that our football learns from this. We hope that what happens in '94. I've already heard stories of people talking about their kids have never been into soccer, and all of a sudden they're wearing jerseys and playing soccer in the backyard and don't want to do anything
Yeah.
else. Like for me and my son, I hope that he sees that too when he kind of like jumps on that. And you just kind of hope that people start investing in more than just the areas that have money, and we really start to find the talent that exists everywhere in this country, because we have so many kids
Oh
that
yeah,
fall
there's
through the
potential, but
cracks that
yeah.
aren't seen. And I don't know if this isn't really tied to this. I know we're at the end here. I don't know, you want to shout out your coach from high school, who, rest in
Oh
peace,
yeah,
just passed
yeah.
away. I'll let you talk to it because he was your coach. So
Yeah. No. Just it's just anybody that is in our community and even honestly all of Long Island, New York. Um, they know what he impacted, and the lives he changed, and a lot of people, because where we grew up wasn't the best of places where a lot of kids easily get lost, barely make it through high school, or if they make it through high school, and if they do, a lot of tough living there, and he was he was a place for a lot of people to find either a father figure if they didn't have it, or if they had a mentor or somebody to push them, to let them know that they have something that they can, maybe they didn't feel that they could through. Maybe made kids do better in school, so that way they at least finish school. He did a lot for the community. He's been around forever, since the 90s. He was assistant coach, and then he took over. And yeah, he dedicated his life. Definitely, I've never seen a coach that was as dedicated as he was to to again. And he was a white German guy, and with the history of us being a Hispanic predominant, and being and a lot of people didn't like us just because of that, and around the areas, so they would look down on us because we were minorities. Obviously, he's a German dude, German descent. You never saw that from him. He those kids. He would do anything he could for if you asked him to. So rest in peace. He was definitely the most influential figure in that community that I know. So they lost a great man. And yeah, it's definitely, and his legacy will definitely forever live in that community, because it's a huge soccer community. So uh, you know, condolences to his family.
I'll see if I can post a link to the GoFundMe for his family, obviously, in whatever way we can help. Brentwood for us is where we grew up. Brentwood High School, 4 state titles. Not that the stats matter, but that man is
Yeah.
the second most winning coach in Long Island. And
In
that's a lot.
history.
That's a lot.
Got a national championship, so the best country in 2008. They were number one team in the country. Yeah, he when I finished up, we were a league 12 years in a row not losing a league game. So yeah, and he had to deal with it. So um, yeah, just rest in
Yeah,
peace,
rest in peace and condolences to the
and
family.
condolences to the family. Absolutely.
And on that send off, we hope you guys enjoyed our coverage for the World Cup. I know this is kind of our first time going through this. As I said, we continue to try to do our best to grow a community within the states that really understands and lives and breathes the world's beautiful game. We love this. We play this. It's something that I don't
And if it
think will
goes
ever leave
globally.
us.
Hmm.
Yeah, we want to connect with the people and all the people that understand how beautiful this game is, and we hope you find some enjoyment in how we come across. We're just here to talk through what emotions you probably felt watching this tournament. We'll continue doing it. We'll keep talking about the U.S. men's soccer team as they hopefully progress. The Premier League is coming up here in less than a month, so all your teams, transfer rumors, friendlies that are coming up. I know there. I don't think United will be in the U.S. for a tour this year,
Obviously, yeah.
but you know, find a team, like look for a team to follow, whether it's MLS, whether it's EPL. You can do both. Like, who cares? At this point, it's just you saw what this game is. You saw how great it can be. It's so exciting. It's so emotional. Even when some of the poorest teams plays, you get some of these thrills. I don't know. Go follow Wrexham, and if you want to do that, they're trying to get up to the Premier League next season. But yes, just keep this passion going. Don't let it die after the World Cup. I think that's my only thing, right? Because this what tends to happen. If you found that you love it, just keep going with it, man. Like, you can still be a fan of another team and another sport, but you can still also keep helping the game grow in this country, and it's only going to get bigger as we move forward. Here's to 2030, to hopefully a more successful run for the U.S. men's national team.
I think I have a better chance of getting to a game over there than I did over here.
You're probably right. And to that, thank you guys. Follow, subscribe. We're on YouTube. I think I just put us live on Twitch as well. We're live on
If you want
YouTube.
us to
All the
go on
recordings are
OnlyFans,
on
we'll do
there.
that too.
Only feet, all that stuff. And then, just give us a follow. Listen to us. We're more than happy. Join the chat live. We're here whenever we're doing our episodes. We'll be back next week. We'll see what we come through. Maybe we'll talk about what's going on in the U.S. game and how it could become better. And hopefully we can do our part in helping, like I said, the game grow even this much. So thank you guys for listening. Have a good one. Happy World Cup. Bye, guys.
Congrats, Spain.
Congrats.
Powered by Riverside.